Hello friends, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Why don't you go down and hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any episodes. For my fans and subscribers, welcome back. I really do appreciate you. Today's topic is Jim Jones, loyalty and oversight. Not much else to say. Well, let's get on with the video. The denomination with which Jones decided to affiliate, the Disciples of Christ, attracted him in two ways. They committed themselves to racial and economic equality and their general laissez-faire attitude toward member churches. However, there was still oversight. When observers from the regional office attended services, they would tell Jones that he put too much emphasis on current social issues and didn't preach about Jesus enough. Jones retorted that Jesus voiced whatever needed to be said. Bible stories about Christ couldn't hold a candle to his true message, which Jones said was love and fairness to all. Instead of stories, Jones said, he taught the words of Christ in terms that members could relate to. This response reduced criticism of his sermons, but he had another problem. All churches in the denomination were expected to present annual reports with statistics such as membership income and what percent of that income went toward programs of the denomination. Jones wanted to control all contributions, so these reports weren't accurate either in membership or income. The regional office of the Disciples of Christ could have audited people's temple books. After all, they were authorized to do so. But the denomination considered the temple to be a vital member because it exemplified what the disciples wanted other member churches to be. Thus, cooked books became a secondary concern. In other words, they let him get away with it. Jones needed his followers to believe that he worked hard on their behalf to improve their lives at the risk of his own, because this would ensure their loyalty. While white integration activists in the Deep South did indeed put their lives on the line, no activist in Indianapolis had been attacked before Jones started reporting assaults. Police actually did catch the culprits one time, but they were teenagers who were randomly breaking windows. Jim Jones was not targeted. He still took offense and told the black teens that they should not be harassing him, considering he was fighting for racial equality. The reported nature of these assaults grew with Jim's reputation. He told police that he had bought guns because he had received anonymous threats of violence. After all, he had to protect his family. Not long afterward, his family awoke to the sound of a gunshot. Jim told them it was an assassination attempt. Someone fired at him, but it didn't come through the kitchen window where Jones had been. When the family went outside, they found a bullet hole in one of the porch pillars. Of course, they called the police, but the police were skeptical. It seemed to them that the angle was wrong. It seemed that the angle, instead of going into the house, was coming out of the house. For the next several Sundays, he told the story to his congregation, how people were trying to kill him because of what he was trying to accomplish for the oppressed. He claimed that he was only alive because God was protecting him. At this point, Jim told family and a few close friends that the pressure was getting to be too great. He was in constant danger and everyone wanted something from him. Privately and very slowly, he began to reveal his true beliefs. Like how Jim Jones was simply the physical vessel of a spirit that occupied other great men who dedicated themselves to justice and equality. Those closest to him had been his helpers in previous lives. Fortunately for Jones, he loved history and could give specifics. One follower, Joe Phillips, who became devoted after Jones, quote-unquote, healed his son of heart disease, was told by Jones that he was an incarnation of the Indian Emperor Ashoka, who was a devout follower of the Buddha, with Jones being the Buddha. Phillips, Jones said, had come back to serve him. Phillips believed in this. After all, Jones had healed his son, right? That meant that whatever Jones said must be true. At the close of October 1961, Jim started telling his associate pastors about a horrific vision he had. He claimed that the U.S. would soon come under nuclear attack and Indianapolis would be demolished with all her people being killed. Fear of nuclear attack was very real at this time. It was during the Cold War and Russia had successfully tested a nuclear bomb in 1955. Advances in science had made possible bombs that were 750 times more deadly than those dropped on Japan to end World War II. So the paranoia was justified. In a June 1961 televised address, in response to Soviet threats, Kennedy warned that Americans should be prepared. His staff accepted Jones's prophecy because of the obsession with nuclear war. To boost his credibility, Jones added details. The Soviets would target major American cities, including Chicago, and Indianapolis would be devastated due to the Chicago attack. He was certain that the attack would come on the 16th of some month, except September. He didn't know what time of the year, but he was sure it would be at 3:09, either AM or PM. He was insistent that People's Temple must relocate for their safety, and Jim would use his leave of absence to search for a safe place. Since he was taking an extended sabbatical, he named Winberg as the man in charge until he returned. The other associate pastors would assist. Then he left for British Guiana. At this point in time, the country was moving toward independence from the British Empire, with a primarily black population with Amerindians in the interior, and English as the primary national language. He thought this country had potential, but not yet. He next went to Hawaii, which he loved so much that he applied for a job in Honolulu in 1961 at Church of the Crossroads. Undoubtedly, Jones hoped eventually to join the temple and Crossroads together and at some point in the future take over the combined church. Reverend Catherine Kent inquired into his background, but ultimately he was not hired. Jones returned home, insisting that nuclear annihilation was just around the corner. Everyone in his church expected him to do something about it. Jones found new relocation possibilities in the January 1962 edition of Esquire. Caroline Bird reported 9 places survival was most likely, including Belo Horizonte. Eureka, California was also on the list, and to be honest, Jones was still attracted to California, but he felt that foreign governments were more likely to support a socialist-based church. It would also increase Jones's control of his congregation because it meant they would be away from friends and family. He thought South America would be the best choice, and from the list in Esquire, he chose Brazil because he thought the government was less dictatorial than that of Argentina. Belo Horizonte was an agriculture and mining center where American missionaries found converts among the indigenous people. Jones decided to stay in Belo Horizonte for a while, arranging for Winberg to continue acting as pastor for People's Temple. His mother and in-laws would continue to manage the nursing homes, and money would be sent to finance initiatives. Finally, he resigned as Human Relations Commission Director and took his family to Brazil. Well, friends, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, press the subscribe button, and if you want to know when I come out with new content, hit the bell next to the subscribe button. My Twitter, Discord, email, and PayPal links are in the description, along with the source that I used for this episode. If you wish to support this channel, you may do so on my PayPal link. Also, if you will, please leave comments in the comment section. You can also leave constructive criticism in the comment section as well. I do read your comments. Not only do I love hearing from you, but it also triggers the YouTube algorithm. Keep learning and searching for truth. Here are a few videos from my library. If you have not watched them yet, go ahead and watch them and tell me what you think. Until next time, friends, stay safe and goodbye.